10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, we're in the house. I'm glad to see everyone. And it's Lynn and Lisa. We're back in the house again, looking good. We're going to do our checks real fast, and I'll be with you. Yeah, happy what day?
Tuesday.
Oh, it's Tuesday. Right? Yes, Tuesday. This is Tuesday. Yes.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. It's always a happy Tuesday. Yes, let's see if we can get this going right there and here. Mm-hmm. And we are good to go.
Yes, let's see if
we're definitely good to go. Okay, we are in the house, and I would like to welcome everyone to our podcast today. Mm-hmm. This is our podcast. This is Encounters. Yeah. And today we have a very good show for you. Today, I might scare the hell out of you, but probably not. But we do have a good show. I'm Lynn David Lisa, your full spectrum Gnostic. And who am I with today?
Lisa.
Excellent. Is Lynn and Lisa. Excellent. And we try to give you the best knowledge and things. That's what's going on. That's what I'm doing today. I promise to keep you up to date. So what are we talking about today?
Tonight, we're talking about what in the hell is going on between the United States, Russia, and China.
And why do we give a damn? Okay. And she wanted to know that. Okay. Okay. But we are going to go over that today. And we have a reason for going over.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. And if you got any comments or questions or whatever, you just talk to Lisa and she'll hit you up and we'll be good to go. Now, why are we going over this? Because this has not been in the news. A lot of things go in the news, but what's going on between Russia and China is not that much in the news. But I promise to keep you up to date with what our little friends from the future is talking about. And they're talking crazy again. Okay. So, the last time we talked about my little friends from the future was
they always talk crazy.
They're always talking
crazy.
They
always talk crazy.
So let's talk about what they're talking about. Okay.
Okay.
Before they was telling us, I've been giving you bits and pieces of what they've been saying. Mm-hmm. And at first they've been warning us about this war we're going to have, World War III, and about is coming up. And they've been telling us that, that in this war, it's going to be very bad, but it's going to be very quick. The war is going to start and over very fast. It's going to be a lot of super destruction, but everything is going to get rebuilt very quickly because we're going to get help. I don't understand what that means. They're not talking too much. And the next thing is when they talk about this war in the future, they also talk about when you ask the magic question, who's going to start the war? Is it Russia or China? They always say the same thing. The United States is going to start the war. And that is very weird because, when Trump was in office, things was kind of iffy. But now that we got Sleepy Joe, as some people like to call it, and all of it. And since we're America, land of peace, okay, even though we've been in constant war ever since this country has been founded, how can we start World War III? You get what I'm saying? Well, Sleepy Joe starts the war. And slowly they've been releasing information. Okay. And we are on the road. So let's talk about what crazy stuff they're talking about now. So now they're saying this war is imminent in the future. Now they put a date on this imminent war in the future. Now they're saying 2022, 2023. Wait a minute. That's like 10, 20 years. Wait a minute. That's like next year. Hello? Okay. That's very scary. And why would we get in a war with Russia and that goes into a war, a World War III next year? That doesn't make any sense. Everything peaceful. We just got over coronavirus. Everybody's kicking back. Everybody's taking their mask off. This is not the time to be thinking about war, right? Okay. So they're talking some stuff that even I didn't really think about until they mentioned it. Okay. Because a lot of time with war cannot be seen until hindsight. You remember, hindsight is 2020. So a lot of times you can't see that accident occurs or a building falling down until after it occurs, and then it's so clear and so obvious why the building fell down, why you got in that car accident, why that ship sunk. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
And before that event occurred, it was ridiculous, almost impossible for that to occur. And we wanted to have shout outs to everybody. So I want to do some shout outs. And you got any shout outs you want to do real quick? Okay.
Hi,
excellent.
everybody. To everybody.
Okay.
Hi, Karen.
We got Karen,
Jill.
Mari, and everybody. Excellent.
Melly. Hi, everybody.
What
Thanks
are
for
they?
watching.
What are they saying? They're saying this war in the future in 22-23 is going to be about oil. Wait a minute. I thought we was getting off of oil. Why would we get in a war over oil, even though the last several wars we have got into was over oil? I thought we was beyond that. I thought we was moving into alternative energy and all this stuff. Why would we fight a war over oil? Doesn't make sense. Then they mentioned something else, that this war is going to be caused by a fight over energy supplies to Europe. And that's going to start a war with Russia that will lead into a World War. And that's when things start clicking. And I'm like, oh, shit. Because this is talking about something that most people are not aware of.
Okay.
And this is why we're doing this podcast, to keep you on top of things that are going on. Because most people don't know what is going on in Europe. Okay. So, as we normally do, we always like to go back into the beginning. So how far back we're going? The Anunnaki, the Garden of Eden. How far back we're going? We're going back to the George W. Bush administration. That wasn't too far back. I remember that. Okay, you remember George W. Bush? Okay, now, he was president when something happened. Okay. Europe was getting all their energy out of the Middle East. Okay. Germany signed a deal to start getting natural gas out of Russia. Okay. And since that was talked about when George W. Bush was president to go forward, now basically Russia supplies all gas to the Middle East. All natural gas, not in the Middle East, all the natural gas in Europe comes through Ukraine. That's a big trouble spot. And it goes into Europe. And Russia controls all of that. And with Trump and Russia got along super good, except in one area that they didn't get along at all, that most people was not aware of. Trump and Russia did not get along at all when it came to natural gas, because America, which most people don't know, is now the world's largest producer of natural gas. And what they've been trying to do in America, which they've been trying to stop Germany at first and stop Europe from doing it, is we want to supply all the natural gas to Europe. We got all this natural gas, and with fracking, we got natural gas coming from everywhere, out of East Texas, everything. We want some place to sell it to. But it would be, we want to take all that natural gas. We was going to build refineries. And this is what Trump was mad over, is because what Trump wanted Europe to do is to swap off gas from Russia and start buying gas from the United States. And they proposed all of these new gasification plants, not only in Texas, but on the East Coast too, that they was going to take natural gas and compress it and put it in these ships, which are super dangerous. If they blow up, it's like a nuclear bomb. We was going to ship the gas across the Atlantic Ocean, and we was going to supply Europe with all the gas. But Europe said, thanks, but no thanks. And this is one reason why Germany I mean, Merkel and Trump didn't get along because Trump was trying to twist Merkel's arm into quit dealing with the Russians and quit buying gas. Okay. But as I said, the Russians got that all locked up. Then, to make things even worse between Trump and Germany, Germany and Russia announced that they was going to build a new pipeline to supply all the gasoline in Europe was going to come from Russia. Okay. And that deal is still being worked on. And President Biden, Sleepy Joe, just signed a waiver for Germany to finish the pipeline, which was very controversial, which Trump was trying to stop. Because with this pipeline, Russia will supply all the oil and all the natural gas to Europe. Okay. And when that pipeline gets done, this is going to be very bad because America is still one of the world's largest exporters of finished petroleum products. The problem is we're running out of places to sell our oil to. That's the reason they're not building no new refineries in America. They want to build new refineries in Texas and other places, but we need a place to sell our oil to. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
And what a lot of people don't know, which is geopolitics, which is super boring, she'll tell you,
Yes.
is this is why we've been doing these wars lately.
Okay.
Okay, this is the secret of why we almost invaded Venezuela. Because Venezuela has now become the oil supplier of all of South America. And if we would have bumped off Venezuela, we could have replaced Venezuelan oil with American oil. Okay, it's all about oil, steel. You get what I'm saying? And this is where we're going because America wants to, and why is oil so important? They're arguing this in Washington right now. They want to build these, the Biden administration want to put recharging stations all over the United States.
Okay.
General Motors and the other car companies talking about they're going to quit making gasoline-powered cars in 10 years. Europe is talking about quit producing gasoline cars in 5 years. Trump was trying to derail all of this and trying to force the gas company, the car makers, into abandon their plans for alternative fuel because we are an oil nation. And why should we care? Because of one thing and one thing only. What is that? She doesn't know. Okay. I'm going to tell you something you don't know.
Tell us.
America went bankrupt back in the 1970s. Most people do not know that. That's the reason Nixon put us on the floating dollar. And we came up with something called the petrodollar, which have kept this country afloat ever since Nixon. The petrodollar is all energy anywhere in the world. You must buy it in US dollars. Okay. And that is what keeps our country afloat. So anyone who threatens our oil dominance, when Saddam started talking about selling oil for gold, he got bumped off. Anybody who threatens us and threatens the US dollar, going to get it. And if the world ever gets off of oil, the petrodollar will collapse. Because a lot of people don't know this, we're broke as a nation. Did you know that? That's the reason we're doing all this $1 trillion deficit spending. We don't have any money. What keeps this country afloat is the petrodollar. Is that if you want to buy any energy product anywhere in the world, you must pay for it in US dollars. And other currencies are backed by gold, backed by this, backed by silver, backed by everything. What is the US dollar backed by? The faith and trust in the Federal Reserve. Okay. Our money is not backed by gold. It's not backed by silver. It's not backed by nothing. It's backed by faith and trust.
Okay.
Okay. You get the problem here? As long as people has faith and trust, we have money. If they ever quit having faith and trust, we have nothing.
And how fast can that change in a second, right?
Well, this is the reason why this is the problem. I knew a little bit about this subject. I didn't know that this was as big as a problem with many problems. I thought, well, we'll work something out. Okay. But this is why, okay, to keep Russia out of selling oil, this is what the war in Ukraine was about. Because all Russian oil, this is why Russia want to build the pipeline. All Russian oil must go by ship through the Black Sea, past Ukraine, Crimea, must go through the straits through Turkey to enter the Mediterranean to go to Europe. That's the reason why we was trying to let Ukraine go become a part of NATO, because that would have stopped all the Russian oil shipments, because Ukraine hold the key to blocking Russian oil. This is why Russia invaded western Ukraine and took over Crimea. Now, Russia is in control of the Russian ships leaving Russia. And Russia have annexed Crimea to be a part of Russia now. That now we're putting very heavy pressure on Turkey to try to stop the Russian ships from passing through the Straits of Turkey to enter the Mediterranean. And Turkey and Russia have been getting very close friends lately. Okay. And what happened over the weekend? A British warship entered the Black Sea. And Russia doesn't want nobody in the Black Sea. For the first time, when we try to send a ship into the Black Sea, Russia gets mad. First, they would just protest. The last year when Trump was in office, they was taking aircraft and buzzing our ships 50, 100 feet away from our ship. They was buzzing the ship. This weekend with the British warship, Russia actually fired live munitions at the ship, several missiles that barely missed, and they buzzed the ship and forced the ship to leave the black water. To leave the Black Sea. Now, what would happen if America tried to send another ship into the Black Sea? What we're trying to do is to shut down their oil production. But even if we can twist Turkey's arm, once the pipeline is done, they won't need to send anything by ship anymore. They'll be able to do it by pipeline. And all the oil in Europe is going to come from Russia. And all the gas in Europe is going to come from Russia. And that could easily collapse the US dollar. Okay. Because right now, even if you buy Russian oil, you have to buy it in US dollars. Okay. If you buy Saudi Arabian oil, you have to buy it in US dollars. Today, us and Saudi Arabia control the oil markets, but that is corroding very rapidly, because now you got, most of the oil in Venezuela. The Venezuelan oil is supplying most of the countries in South America. You got oil, Russia control, sending a lot of oil to Europe. China is China's in Africa and other places buying oil. And what their strategy is, which they have openly said, is that in the future, they're going to stop accepting US dollars. Okay. And I think if that day ever comes, that would be because we would be on the edge of financial ruin if that happened. And this is what happened right before we invaded Iraq. Saddam said all oil out of Iraq had to be bought in Iraqi dinar. Within a few weeks of him saying that, he was out of power. Okay. We have to keep the dollar strong. And while this is going on, most people have no idea of what is going on. Okay.
Someone says, is that going to start a cashless society?
Well, what it will do.
Because aren't they already talking about that?
Well, cashless society, they're trying to go to virtual currencies. Okay. Because with dollars, they can be counterfeited. Virtual currencies, there's a battle going on over about the virtual currency that was going to be of the future. I think that is still some time away because the problem is the date of conversion. Okay. And what we did when we converted back in the 50s, you had to turn in your blue dollars. Who remember blue US dollars? You remember blue US dollars? You thought they was always green, right? Blue US dollar was silver certificates. You had to take them to the bank and turn them in, and they gave you green dollars for your blue dollars. The reason why we've been threatening to do that for the last 20, 30 years and never will do it is because there's a lot of money hoarders out there. And some countries are hoarding billions of dollars in US currency. If they had to turn in their currency, and if they only gave people 3 months or 6 months to turn in their currency, a lot of people are not going to be able to meet the deadline. And what happens and the American underground economy is bigger than the American official economy. You have all the drug dealers, this and that, all this underhanded stuff, all this. There's so much stuff which is going on off the table. And if you had to turn in your money tomorrow, if you got a regular job, you could go and take your $5,000 or $10,000 and convert it. But if you're a drug dealer and got $2.3 million and you haven't paid taxes on it, how are you going to take that to the bank and convert it? You understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, where did you get this money?
Right. You're not going to be able to explain where you got the money from. And again, what reason we haven't done it, we want to get rid of that illegal money. But remember, our money is backed by faith and trust. And if we was to do that, a lot of people would lose faith and trust. Right? Because this is what happened when other countries have done this. When Russia converted their money or other countries do that, a lot of people get scared. And they put their money in, where they will switch it to another form of currency in the world. Okay. So this is very, very bad. And what is happening, like what have happened so many times, a lot of times we don't see wars coming. Most people don't know that World War II was started over the invasion of Poland. Who cared? You know what I'm saying? It was not a big deal event. Germany was invading all kind of places. But the invasion of Poland was the red line that England set as you cannot invade no more countries. And you already invaded Hungary, Czechoslovakia, this and that, and everything else, Austria, everywhere else. But if you invade Poland, that's it. And Germany laughed. And when they invaded Poland, it started a world war. Okay. World War One was started over an Archduke uh, in Serbia getting assassinated. Who cares about an Archduke in Serbia? How come that started into a world war? Because of the alliances around the world. And this is what we keep talking about. That's what Trump was trying to bag out of. Under the NATO agreement, if any NATO member get attacked we must declare war. And they kept asking Trump if Europe was to get attacked, would we automatically come to Europe's defense? Trump kept saying it depends on what the conflict is about. Before every president automatically said yes, period. If Israel get attacked, America will declare war, automatic. Okay, now we're starting to put question marks in places. Okay, which is getting people kind of scared, because what would happen if England got attacked, America would declare war. But what happened if a small country, NATO got 21 members, so it means if Hungary got attacked, or will we go to war for Hungary? I don't. Okay. If Luxembourg got attacked, will we go to war for Luxembourg or Lithuania? Okay. So we don't know. But these are some things that we have to think about. Now, I'm not saying that these people from the future know everything. And these people from the future have told us things before that haven't come true, because you have to understand what they're doing. The future is liquid. It is not solid. So a lot of people from the future was warning about the Cuban Missile Crisis and how that was going to be World War III, because what they could only see is us getting to the edge of the cliff. And just because you're getting to the edge of the cliff doesn't mean you're going to fall over the cliff, right?
Okay.
And every time we get close to the edge of the cliff, these people get nervous, because this is a possibility of something happening. Okay, the past is solid. The future is changing, but the present is changing, but the future is liquid. Okay. And we control the future. So in future events, that's why they give you a range of possibilities of what can happen. That's the reason they said before that World War III was going to happen within the next 10, 20 years, because it's a range. And every time we get close to the cliff, normally cool heads will they will come through, and we are talked away from the edge of the cliff. Mm-hmm. That's the reason the Cuban Missile Crisis didn't go crazy. This is why several other events, just like wars in the Middle East, that almost went totally out of control. People at the last second, someone will chicken out and pull back. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, the way we're heading now, we're heading towards another cliff. If we do avoid war, what that would means is that the dollar will be substantially weakened if Europe switches totally to Russian oil and to Russian gas. That will dramatically strengthen Europe and Russia's place in the world. And America money and power in the world will go down. Okay. And there's two ways of going down. You can go down. See, the British Empire lasted 100 years. Okay. The Roman Empire the British Empire basically lasted 150 years. The Roman Empire lasted 1,000 years. The American Empire basically only been around since World War II. And this is, unraveling very, very quickly. And not only with Russia, our biggest problem is also with China. This is why we're trying to start trouble with China, because China has the secret weapon. What is the secret weapon China got? Money.
Money and their.
And how did China get all the money? Because we decided, some stupid person decided, hey, those Chinese will work for next to nothing. Why don't we take all the factories and put it over there and let them work for peanuts? And it was a great idea at the time. But now it comes back and bites you in the butt. Because now everything's made in China and they control everything in the world. And before, it was the threat that if China got out of control, we'll just put an embargo against them. Today is the opposite. If China gets mad at us, they can put an embargo against us because everything is made in China. And if China was to put an embargo against us, it would be more devastating than us putting an embargo against them because everything is made over there. But that is our fault. You get what I'm saying? Okay. And maybe if we had a time machine, we should go back and reverse that decision. Because a lot of people wasn't too happy, especially in the 70s and the late 70s, 80s, and early 90s, when all the jobs left this country and went overseas. You see what I'm saying? Okay. What does people say?
Someone says real quick right now, I think we should be very concerned in regards to China.
Oh, because China. Now, China, in the history of China have ever only invaded one country. They tried to invade Japan on 2 separate occasions, and it was devastating. That's the only country in the history of China that ever tried to invade. Okay. China now went from having nothing. China now has the largest navy in the world. They're still like 10, 20 years behind us. But at the pace of them making ships, they will even have more aircraft carriers than we do in 10 years. Okay. And China is not building anything with deficit spending. They have something called cash money. Okay. And China's going all over the world with their free program. They go to these countries like the Philippines or other countries where everything is old and getting old. And they say, hey, your docks are really old and beat up and your railroads are kind of run down. They're 20, 30 years old. How would you like a whole new harbor? We'll build your whole new harbor. We'll build your whole new railroad system. We'll do all of this. This is what America was doing back in the 50s and 60s. And we would give these countries money to build all this stuff. And then they had to pay the loans back, which we knew they never could pay them back. China's not even doing that. China says we'll build everything for free. The only thing we want is we'll build you that free harbor, but we get to use it for free since we built it. You get what I'm saying?
Always a price.
And how can you say no to
That's
free?
What you say.
You can't. How can you say no to free? And the other thing we're mad at China about. Okay. Russia is also building a pipeline to China. So China will not have to be buying oil from all over the world. Okay. And the other thing China is doing, China is building, we're fighting in America over highway construction. Our highways are falling apart. We've been talking about 20 years about we need to rebuild the highways. We need to do this. If you live in any major cities, the highways are like spaghetti bowls and they don't move. And they've been talking about doing something about it, but it's just the congestion, it's getting worse by the year, not better. Okay. What China did across China, they connected all the Chinese cities by bullet train. Now to go from one end of China to the other, which used to take you 15 hours, Now you can go on trains that go 200 miles an hour. And China's now making new bullet trains that will go 300 miles an hour. Okay. We don't have the fastest American train goes 85 miles an hour. And China wants to build something called the New Silk Road project. If this project gets completed, which they've been working on quickly and is now approaching Europe, they want to be 20 years from now, you'll be able to board a bullet train in London, England, and go all the way to Beijing, China at 300-400 miles an hour. And China's willing to build the entire thing for free through everybody's country. And the countries are slowly signing on to this project, one country at a time, because China's building it for free. You don't have to do nothing. You get what I'm saying? The only thing is, since China built it, they get to use it for free. So it's not only full of people, it's full of all their Chinese products. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. See, China wants to be the world trading empire, and this is not the first time. When you go back, remember, we think trade didn't exist until a few hundred years ago. But in the pyramids, in the old item that China was known for thousands of years, something called bone china. They used to take bones, crush it into a powder, and they would make plates. And these plates were super thin. You could hold them up through the light. You could see them. You could beat them and they wouldn't break. It's called bone china. They have found bone china was only produced in one place in the world, China. They have found bone china fragments in the pyramids in Egypt. They have found bone china fragments in South America and in the Americas. How did these fragments get everywhere? But according to the old Chinese books, which we call legends, China talk about how their trading fleets used to go all over the world. But those are just legends. We know that didn't happen. But how is these fragments of bone china end up all over the world? I think China was trading all over the world. Okay. And I think that's what China want to do today. China's not trying to, I do not believe China want to build military bases all over the world. China wants to be the trading capital of the world. And they don't care if you're moving pianos, cocaine, if you're moving, okay, whatever it is, it's just another box that needs to be moved. They don't really care because they make money as the worldwide movers. You see what I'm saying? Okay. But there, which we talked about on the show several times, because of even today, this was the problem in Africa, which I'm talking about. China, with under China's free program of free, the African countries are now complaining that, as I mentioned before, you can now buy a frozen chicken from China. It's cheaper than a live chicken in most African countries. And all the African countries is being bombarded with all these cheap Chinese imports. Okay. That's making it hard for the people of their country to produce anything because they're being flooded with all this cheap stuff. Just like America. We're supposed to buy American products, buy American this, buy that. But a lot of times we buy the cheapest thing we cannot get. And if you want to know how bad it is, the next time you women go shopping, look at the labels in your dresses. When is the last time you bought a dress that says made in the USA? You can buy one. A lot of dresses are made in Indonesia, all these Bangladesh, this, that, everything else. You can't, but we like the cheap prices.
Mhm.
We're addicted to cheap, and we love Walmart. And almost 90% of everything in Walmart is, what's the magic word?
What?
Made in China, dear. That was
Made
the
in
answer.
China.
Thank
I'm
you.
reading. I was not.
Excellent. What are the people saying?
Okay, the old saying applies here. If it sounds too good to be true, free, it probably is.
Okay. Now,
There's a hidden agenda. That was in the same comment.
right. Now, this is the problem that, see, there's nothing new in the world,
Someone says cheap prices, cheap quality. That's true too.
but we don't have the money to buy the expensive stuff. And when you go to the grocery store and they got, okay, this, you're looking for a ceiling fan. They got one for $39, $59, $79, one for $139. Most of the time, you may not buy the cheapest, but it's close to the cheapest, right? We don't say we're going to take that 100 and, a certain person was looking for a coffee grinder the other day. They went everywhere from $12 up to $137. Why is a coffee grinder $130 anyway? I don't have the slightest idea. But we ended up buying, we didn't buy, maybe we did buy the cheapest, but okay. It was pretty low down there. We didn't turn it over to see where it was made, but it probably wasn't American made. I'll just say that.
We'll do that tonight.
Okay.
Where is it made?
Okay, but we looked at all the different prices.
But I grind my coffee every morning.
Okay,
fresh.
so
we have good coffee.
We can say we need to buy American and this and that, but when it comes down to pocketbook time,
he's like, let's go to Big Lots.
Okay, we go to what is inexpensive. Okay.
Oh my
So
goodness.
we're bad. It's
We're not gonna pay $130 for a coffee grinder.
Okay, that was probably American made though. But anyway, okay, or European. But anyway, this is the problem that we have. Okay, and this problem now, nothing's new under the sun. This problem we had is the exact problem England had 150 years ago. England got addicted to tea out of China and spices out of India. And all the money in England was being sucked out of England to go to India and China. And the people in India and in England didn't know what to do because they was going broke. You get what I'm saying? But they figured out a solution. Why don't we invade India and China so the money can go over there and then we'll just bring it back? So England invaded India, invaded China, and they solved their problem. You get what I'm saying? Okay. The way we're going, the same thing, we're being sucked dry. Maybe if I'm not saying we should do the same thing, but this is how England solved that problem 150 years ago. Then you could drink all the Chinese tea you wanted after that because the British government owned all the Chinese tea farms in China. So you could drink, the money would leave England, go to China, and then it would magically come back to England again. You see what I'm saying? Okay. This is how we solved the problem in the Middle East with Saudi Arabia back in the 70s when all the money was being sucked out of this country to go to the Middle East for oil. We needed a way to get our money back over here. And we came up with a trade. Those people didn't have any weapons. They hated a certain country over there called Israel, and they had no weapons. And we decided we will sell them oil. So we sell them oil and we give them our money, and then we sell them weapons, but we don't sell them the good stuff. You know what I'm saying, don't you? Okay, we sell them that. And they give us the money back. And this is why Saudi Arabia is one of the largest military powers in the country. Now, who's afraid of the military of Saudi Arabia? Nobody. Because they got everything over there, but they don't know how to use it. You get what I'm saying? And most of the Middle Eastern countries, they have the latest of everything, but we didn't sell them the best stuff. We didn't train them on how to use it. So nobody is really worried. You see what I'm saying? Okay. That is the game we played over there. Okay. And we thought we could maybe play that game with China, but China figured out a way to get around that problem. Okay. And this is, we're going to talk about that in a minute. And this is why, okay, because what the world does is, Lufthansa or those companies say, we need jets. They call Boeing up and say, we want to order 145 jets. We need 90 jets, right? And then we make them over here and we fly them over there and they give us money, right? China came up with a new weapon. It didn't work for Boeing because Boeing said no, but it worked for Airbus. China has a population of 1.2 billion people. They don't want to order 90 jets or 120 jets. China goes to Boeing and say, we need to buy 2,000 747s. That make you piss your pants right there. You get what I'm saying? Okay. 2,000 of them? Yeah, we can make you this. No, but we want them built in China, not in America. We want you to build 2,000 747s. You must build them in China. You must employ Chinese workers to build them. And after 10 years, those factories will become our factories. You're crazy. We're not going to, okay? So you're saying no to 2,000. America still said no. The Europeans said yes. And a lot of American car companies, a lot of companies all over the world have said yes to that deal. And this is why China stole all the technology in the world. Because if you're going to build something in China, you have to build it in China. You have to hire their workers. And the factory will become theirs eventually. So they don't have to steal the plans. You get what I'm saying? Because they have... Okay. And this is why, because of deals like this, Airbus went from a super small company to now Airbus is even bigger than Boeing. Okay. Because Airbus can get those deals that we can't get because we can't build a plant in China. But Airbus is willing to do that. And China's ordering... They need 5,000 of this. They need 10,000 of this. They need, okay. And those are numbers you can't even imagine. And they don't want credit. They're not saying we're going to sell junk bonds and pay you back in 20 years. No, this is cash and carry. It's hard to turn down a deal like that. Okay. That's amazing. But we used to be that powerful and that rich back in the good old days. Americans were going around the world and we had money. But then we lost it because we got into junk bonds back in the 70s. And we was doing everything with debt. And we was building things and we're going to build it, but we're going to pay you back or we're going to sell bonds to pay for it. See, we don't have any money now. Okay. But cash is king.
That's right.
Comments.
That's what I always say. This is funny. I'm wondering what she means. She says, laugh out loud. You must be young. I think we all did that in our late teen and early 20s. Karen, what are you talking about? Okay. Grinding the coffee? What is she talking about?
I don't know if it's grinding coffee or something. We're supposed to be talking about more important things than grinding coffee. But everything is the same. Okay. Now, we only have like a few minutes left.
We're almost done.
I want to take the last few minutes to talk about something important you could toss and turn about.
Okay. You gonna scare us?
Yes. America used to be the richest country in the world. And I can remember, and I'm not 100 years old, you used to go
Not
to the
yet.
shopping mall and people used to have so many bags and they was buying like there was no tomorrow. And now you go to the shopping mall and people have that one little tiny bag. You get what I'm saying? And now, how did we go from being so rich to so poor so fast? What happened to all the money we used to have in this country? But I remember when I was a kid,
Long
you
time ago.
as soon as I got out of high school, I graduated in '79. With a regular little tiny job, you could move out of your parents' house and get an apartment. When I got out of school in high school, I had a car, I had credit cards, I had everything. You get what I'm saying? Kids today, they can't. How did we go so wrong so fast? You got an answer for that?
No, I do not.
Do you remember going shopping in the old days and going to them and people used to just buy and buy and buy and now we don't have no money anymore. Now we want credit on everything. And even credit. And back even with credit.
This girl.
When I was young, I had credit cards that I had a $10,000 credit card one time. I had a $20,000 credit card. I had all kind of numbers. Today, credit card companies want to give you the big $2,000 credit line. Ooh, 2,000. I got 5,000. Ooh, okay. It's nothing. You get what I'm saying? I wasn't even legal. This was back when I just got out of high school. TWA sent me a travel credit card with $100,000 credit line. I never even been on a plane at that time. You get what I'm talking about? It was credit, and you could charge everything and spend to your heart desire, and your minimum payment was only $15 because it was never a thing of paying it off. It was just spend. And I don't care what limit you hit. At Christmas time, they would raise your credit line so you could go and buy more. Any comments on that?
No.
Am I the only one who remember that? And how easy money used to be? I don't think I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Okay.
And that's why everybody's in debt and the whole world of that's the answer to your question. Like everybody's, you know.
But how did we get to be so broke?
Like that.
And when I was growing up,
spending money you don't have.
And when I was growing up, you probably haven't noticed, but I'm a black guy. My dad worked. My mother didn't work. And my dad had his Cadillac and and we lived in a new house and today and we was black. Okay. I wonder what the Anglos was doing. You get what I'm saying? Okay. How come we are so broke today? And today everybody's kids are moving back in with mom and dad again. We're going back to the old ways. And your kids can't even afford to have their own apartment. Apartments today are $1,200, $800. Okay. $2,100. And even at $15 an hour, that's nothing. I know a lot of things. I do not have an answer for that. You have an answer? Okay. I bought my first car. My first car I bought. My first new car I bought. It was like it was a brand new car. This was like maybe in the late 70s. I bought a new car. It was like $6,000 for a new car. A Cadillac was like 20,000. People thought of $20,000 for a Cadillac. That's ridiculous. And that was with all the gadgets. Today they got some cars now that's almost $100,000. $80,000 for a pickup truck. And you need a pickup truck, $80,000 pickup truck with giant tires, so you can go to Walmart, okay, and buy your Chinese goods. But maybe I fell off the turnip wagon somewhere along the way. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Does this make sense to you?
I mean,
okay. And before a car payment, you would get a car payment. It was a 2-year, a 3-year loan. The new cars, 7, 8, 9-year car payments. Speechless. Anybody got a comment over there?
with 16% interest rate.
Oh, 16%. Now you get credit cards. Gosh, some credit cards are at 30%.
That's why I don't have a credit card.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible. And before credit cards, I remember, I'm not 100 years old. I remember credit cards at 6% interest, 9% interest. And if you had terrible credit, you was paying 18% interest, not 30%. Now, the highest I ever seen it was 35%. Okay, this is ridiculous. Do anyone have an answer for me on what?
No, nobody
went
has
wrong?
an answer for you, Lynn.
I need an answer. That's why we need those space aliens to come and solve these problems. Okay, because how we go? What are we going to be 20 years from now?
Maybe dead.
And how we're going to fight this new weapon China got? Free, 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 free. Okay, you get what I'm saying? It's hard to say no to free. Very hard. Okay. So we have some dark clouds on our horizon. Okay. We have, Russia's trying to take over Europe energy-wise. China's giving everything away, buying up everything with their secret weapon of free. Okay. And we got all the weapons, we got all the missiles, we got all the tanks, we got all of this or that. And in closing, with all of our technology, smart bombs, everything else, we're ending the war in Afghanistan after 19 years of fighting. And the country is now, after 19 years of fighting the Taliban, they don't have no technology. They don't have nothing. They just got towels wrapped around their heads. After 19 years of fighting, the Taliban controls, we say officially, 40% of the country. Unofficially, some of the numbers says the Taliban controls 50 to 60% of the country. You mean with all of the millions and dollars we spent over there, that's the best we could do? And we got soldiers that got bulletproof everything, all these night vision goggles, stealth fighters and everything, and we couldn't beat people with towels wrapped around their heads. Something isn't right. I told you this show make you think.
Someone says thanks for the dark forecast.
Well, it's not that, but this is our country. We fell off the turnip wagon somewhere. We have to figure out how to get back on the wagon. And our answer is not build more guns, build more F-35s, build more this, build more. Okay, it didn't work. Our F-35s and all this super science, futuristic weapons couldn't beat people with towels wrapped around their heads. We got defeated. And China, with their free, is beating us in the democracy thing. Because, we told people, well, with us, at least you got, freedom and democracy. As I said, go to McDonald's and tell them you want you want to order freedom with a side of democracy, and see what you get. Okay. With that, we're out of time. Some people are glad we're out of time.
They said another great show.
Another
Thanks,
great
Lynn
show.
and
This is
Lisa.
very dark.
Thanks, Lynn and Lisa.
This is something we have to think
See you
about because we
tomorrow.
have to save this country for our kids. And if we screwed it up, we need to fix it. Or maybe we're going to leave it up to our kids to fix it.
Yeah. I mean,
Maybe we're going to just throw in the towel and say, hey, we screwed it up. We need, you kids, y'all need to fix this mess we made.
you
Okay.
know, and that's kind of scary.
That's very scary.
Yeah.
For some of these kids today, that Zoom education, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, if they're going to try to fix our problems, that Zoom education's got to do a lot better than what it's doing.
Okay.
With that, I'm out of here. I hope to see everybody tomorrow. We'll try to be not so gloomy and down in the dumps next week. But with that, as we normally do, we're going to zoom out. And remember, tell you might want to share this with your friends. And I didn't mean to upset anybody. This is not Democrat or Republican. We are Americans. This is our country. And unfortunately, this country is doing pretty bad right now.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I'm out of here. Hope to see everybody again next week and tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Lynn and Lisa, we're out of here.
Signing out.